You ready? You ready?
Yes. Then we're going to pull the outline.
I don't put it back every time. I just throw something in. That's my man version.
All right, council members, can I get a motion to go back in the regular session, please?
Motion.
Can I get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
I know we need to close that door. Thank you. Can I get a motion for the adoption of minutes, March 5th, 2024?
Motion.
Get a second?
Second.
Any questions?
No.
Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Payment of bills for March 19th, 2024. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions on the payment of bills?
Council President, just a couple quick ones.
Councilman, first thing,
On page 3 of the bills, there's a,
talking to you, Mike, please.
on page 3, there's an amount here for Alpine Consulting of $72,000. Can you just explain what that's for?
Yes, Council President, Councilman Feuerstein, that is record retention company, also known as AccuScan. We're going to pull that off. They are not finished the work, but they sent us the invoice in time. So we're going to have them draw down. The project is still ongoing.
How much longer do you expect that?
I will refer to the clerk's office.
I was told from a lady, from my visitor, that by the end of this month, we should be done with everything officially filed. So CFO should have an updated bill before the end of the month.
So we're going to approve this one and then, no, we're taking this off.
Completely, yes.
Okay, perfect. And then the last question, just as a point of personal interest, is Union County Board of Elections invoice for $12,000? It was the last item on that page. Sorry. Union County Board of Elections bill for $12,309. Was that the
I will also refer that to the clerk's office.
This was from our recent election we had. I don't think it got on the bills list until 2023. So this was from the general election
And the recall.
and recall.
Okay, thank you. Got it. Thank you so much.
All right, so that I'm clear, what are we're pulling something from the bill this current?
The 72,000 for Alpine coming on.
Okay. Any other questions from the council members?
Council President, if I may make a comment.
Councilman Hyde?
Thank you. This bill list looks great. That was it. I appreciate whoever did it, or the printer, or whatever. It's easier to read, it's clearer, more concise, it doesn't include payroll, and I felt like that should be stated since we do frequently talk about the things that are not right. We used to get the bill list this way, in years past, and then somewhere in the middle, what happened in Unidex or whatever, we started getting it collectively and combined with the payroll. So I appreciate this copy as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, the same morning. Thank you for that one. You should really stand up.
Are you using a different program or is it?
We are now using a cloud-based version
Nice.
of Unidex. The payroll will be coming back on in some form. I'm probably going to do a summary sheet instead of each.
Bills. Roll call, keeping in mind that we are removing the $72,000 bill on that.
Would you say it as amended?
As amended, so say as amended, please.
Banano.
Yes, as amended.
Feuerstein.
Yes.
Hyatt.
Yes, as amended.
Joyner.
Yes, as amended.
Saxon.
Yes, as amended.
Vice President Rios.
Yes, as amended.
Council President Epps.
Yes, as amended.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Ordinance number 24-05 has been pulled.
Which one?
Ordinance 24-05, establishing the House Rivers Festival Committee, that's been pulled. Ordinance number 24-06, an ordinance amending the Township of Hillside Code at Chapter 122, vacant property registration and maintenance. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Any questions from the council members?
Yes, Councilman.
Councilwoman Hyatt?
Thank you. Just for the sake of the public, could someone just explain what this one is?
Council, this is just bringing us up to code,
Right, but.
in accordance with the state law.
We'll go back to that, that's my apologies, I didn't realize it was the second. Any other questions from the council members, and then we'll move to the public for comment? Any other questions from the council members? All right, seeing none, at this time, can I get a motion to open up, this ordinance for public comments, please?
Motion.
Quick question, though, we have a motion and a second, do we need to do it? Withdraw the motion, okay.
I'm sorry, we withdraw the motion. Who did the initial motion?
Banana. Okay.
Lisa, can you withdraw your,
I
motion?
withdraw my motion.
And who was the second?
I don't think I'm supposed to be. It was Councilman Rio.
Rios.
Rios.
I'll rescind myself.
Thank you. All right, thank you, council members. At this time, I want to open up ordinance 24-06 for public comments. This is amending the Township of Hillside Code in Chapter 122, vacant property registration and maintenance. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
At this time, this ordinance is open for public comments. Please come to the mic. Speaking only in reference to this ordinance. That's 24-06.
Fined or whatever?
Yes, they do. Yeah, you're gonna get fined. Again, there was, the purpose of why we're doing this, and the purpose is to bring it up to and to be consistent with the state bill that was passed into law in 2022. So it makes various changes, and it requires, any existing ordinances and municipalities to mirror and to be consistent with the bill that was passed in 2022.
Okay. And I mean, has this been successful in Hillside? I mean, are we staying up on this and?
I see none. Can I get a motion from the council to? Second by. I see none. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Banana,
Yes.
Fierstein,
Yes.
Hyatt,
Yes.
Joyner,
Yes.
Saxon, Vice President Rios,
Yes.
Council President Epps.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Can I get a motion open for public comments, ordinance 24-07, an ordinance establishing fees. At this time, ordinance 24.
Hawaiian Thompson, that's 1480 Stanley Terrace. I just had one question about what will be the cost? Did they decide a cost for the summer activities for this year's 2024?
Council President, council members, the cost, Ms. Thompson, is $500 for the 7-week program, and then there's an additional $200 if the parents want the children to participate in the field trips.
Additional $200?
Yes, it's 5 trips.
Well, the recreation center hire a lot of young adults, but I just happened to talk to a parent after today, and she was saying you guys don't have a lot of adults, that you do 20, they hire young people 20-year-olds and under, and she wanted to know if you guys were gonna hire adults to also do activities such as drama, fishing. When I did tell her that a cost was going to be, was going to be an increase in the cost, and that was one of her complaints, but I don't know, because I'm not here.
I'll speak with Director Hardy in regards to that.
Okay.
I know there are some more mature adults that need some of those, and then they hire the younger people to work with them.
Sponsor 2 children. So I want to put it out to council people, the people, adults in Hillside who can afford to help the parents who can't afford to send their kids to summer camp and would like to send them, if somebody can sponsor a child. Okay.
I'll let Director Hardy know to follow up with you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your generosity.
So that $200 cost for the field trips. So that's a huge increase for residents to go from $300 to $700. What is the hours of the program?
All day.
It's from 8 to 4. And, okay,
And the 200, the field trips are optional. They don't want a field trip to the community center.
okay, all right, thank you.
Tina Mitchell, 1431 Maple Avenue. Are they?
It's a mixture. I can't recall exactly what it entails.
Yeah, you know, because, you know, when I look at the price, I know it's been a long time. My children went to summer camp and they went to one in Roselle Park. They had programs in there where like they did computer classes. They actually had classes where if you wanted to learn how to play the keyboard, but the children could, you know, they had a list of, you know, like not just sports.
No, it's not all sports.
It's all, huh?
I know it's not all sports.
Okay, no, I was just wondering, because you would think that paying that much money, because you're paying, what is it, 500?
For 7 weeks.
Yeah, for 7 weeks,
Which
and
is
then,
and then $7 per week.
and then for trips as well. I was just wondering.
Because there's a bunch of activities listed on the ordinance. There's soccer, cheerleading, dance, tennis, there's a whole bunch of activities on the ordinance.
Good evening. Crawford, 1417 Orchard Terrace. My question is there a discounted rate for those parents that have more than one child?
For this ordinance, no, it's not. No, it doesn't.
Thank you.
I just, for one that's 14 Stanley Terrace, I just have one suggestion or concern. I know that we do compare, we want to be compared to other counties in regards to raising the price, but we also want to make sure that the activities that we're providing are equivalent to the price and the cost. Because, for instance, we say, hey, Rawway has their cost is $500, $600, but they may have a pool, okay? Or they may have activities going on throughout the day. And I know they do a lot of rec center during the summertime, but I just want us to be really mindful that we don't compare and don't offer those services for it. That is a big jump from $500 to $200. And that would, if I was a parent, I would want to seek something worth the money. So that's something, because we don't want to lose people we don't want to lose our residents to going to Rawway, but at the same time, we want to offer a great program of services.
Hello, Maddie Holloway, 141 Bailey Avenue. Hope you can hear me. In regards to this, I was just wondering if there's a family with multiple children, is there any compensation or discount? Let's say brothers and sisters, there are 3 or 4 in the family that want to attend. Is there any compensation?
No, this ordinance does not reflect that.
Has that ever been, well, was that something that you think should have been considered or still not to make consider?
I think Director Hardy looked at it, did the calculations, and the cost is supposed to offset the cost of the program.
Who's supposed to?
Director Hardy. So I don't know if you consider a package prorated based on the number of students, children participating.
I think that would be helpful to some parents if that could be considered. Okay? Given the amount, because it's a little steep and with everything going up. Okay? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Paula King. How are you? What?
Can you go talk to the mic?
Well, I have something to say about that.
Address.
Name and address.
1462 Hiawatha Avenue. First of all, I understand what you're saying about the camp, but I'm gonna say this. I've been saying this for a long time about me being on the committee for the community center. Back in the day when me and Bushy was here, Patrice was on the board, back in the day, you wouldn't have to ask these questions, because that's what the committee was for. The committee would know all about the camp and what was going on, projects for the kids. We would discuss this at the meeting, and then we would have a representative, Mr. Hardy, whatever his name is. He didn't have to come here. The council would come here. That was the granddaughter now that's ready to come. And I want a committee to go on a white committee so that we can sit down and these parents are going to ask these questions. Okay, because that committee is going to go there. We used to go to the community center and see what was going on. We used to have that foul thing, the dance and stuff right there. We had it out there in the street. It was out there humping. Me and Ms. Patrice would be out there. Making sure our kids, parents had it right. We took care of them. We ran it really nice. And we need to have a committee back so these parents have to ask these questions, that we would get together and take care of the questions that these people need to know. Please, let's get a committee going for our children of Hillside in the community center. So this time, this summer here, we can sit down and say, what is your plan, Hardy? What is your plan? What are you going to do with these kids? Because I saw what the camp was last year, and there's not one of my grandbabies going to Hillside camp. It was ridiculous. Just taking the money and nothing to all our children. We need to have something, like they said, take the kids a little bus, take them over to Broadway to the pool. There's other things that we can do. Take them to different things that we can do. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joy Millette, 1434 Liberty Avenue. I'm actually a parent who had a child in the summer camp. And I personally did not like the summer camp. I thought there was too many young people to our children. And my child expressed needs some extra assistance. Another child can't give that. That's where an adult needs to step in and give that support to the child. Now, if the summer camp can't accommodate, then it needs to be said to the parents when they're trying to register their child that we can't accommodate you due to A, B, C, D, E, whatever that need may be. I do think I am a working mom, but I feel like 700 is way too much for sports. And then, they only get one water activity at the end of summer based on their behavior. I'm not sure if many knew that. It was based on your behavior was when you got to participate in the big activity and how you feel some type of way. So, I just wanted to just put that out there to the council.
I understand there's a need to increase because you have to hire people to run the program, but it sounds like we're outpricing our residents. Now, what was the number of students that attended or children attended summer camp last year? Approximately? 80 students? 80 children, sorry, I keep saying students. I would only think that based on that with the 80, if you would say to get half because of the increase in the cost, would you be able to operate the program with 40 students, 40 children, sorry? I just think we might be outsourced. We're out costing, we're over, well, you know what I mean. Yeah, it's not cost effective at that point. Because if you're gonna have 40 children and all these adults that you've employed to run these programs, and people paying that money, you need to have more participation from the community. And like this nice parent did, this lady, she's volunteering to support and sponsor children. I'm sure we can.
At this time, I have council with the motion to close public comments.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We need a motion to adopt ordinance number 24-07, establishing fees for summer camp, Charter 229-9, scheduled fees, for township, sponsored activities for township residents only. Can I get a motion? Second.
Second.
Council liaison is me, but I've also asked who's going to be on the board. So the actual board hasn't been established yet.
Okay.
So we're working on it.
This week, have we talked to Director Hardy about, like, I am concerned about the multiple family situation with different, with a lot of kids. I personally don't think they should be paying that same fee.
Would it be better to table it now?
Please, I'd like it tabled.
Yeah, I'm not really comfortable with that. I would like for him to at least be present to, see how the rest of the council members feel as well.
I'll make that motion. I'll motion to table, ordinance.
We got it.
I rescind.
I'll rescind. I rescind my second. You first.
Oh, I rescind my motion.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion to table ordinance, 024-07.
Second.
Any questions in order to rescind? Seeing none, roll call. Table to rescind. Roll call.
Banana?
Yes, to rescind.
Burstein?
Yes.
Hyatt?
Yes.
Joyner?
Yes.
Saxon?
Yes.
Vice President Rios?
Yes.
And Council President X.
Yes, to rescind so we get more information from the rec director and we can hopefully make some changes to this ordinance. Thank you,
Motion
Council.
carried to table.
Thank you, Council. Get a motion open for public hearing, ordinance number 24-08, a bond ordinance providing for the construction of a public library by and in the township of Hillside in the county of Union, state of New Jersey, appropriating $4,400,000. Therefore, and authorizing issuance of $4,190,476 in bonds or notes of the township of finance, part of the cost thereof, and repealing and replacing bond ordinance number 023-12, finally adopting on August 15, 2023. Can I get a motion open for public hearing?
Motion.
You get a second?
Second.
Is this still the way it was last meeting when all of the comments were made?
Correct.
Correct. Yes.
And that's the way it's gonna stay? We still have the Ramsey Avenue factored into that?
Tony Matilda, you want to speak on it? I don't think anything's changed since the last.
It has or has not?
It has not. It has not. It has not.
It has not.
Okay. Because I know that there was some opposition to that. And I thought at this time we might have reconsidered, because I believe you had two ordinances within that particular one. We had one that had already been passed that was somehow factored into this one. And the idea was that you should get your own separate library bond. And I was just wondering if that was being considered or had been considered, but what I'm hearing, the answer is no.
I'll let Attorney speak.
I think the council has taken all of the prior comments made by all of the members into consideration with respect to what's going to occur at the appropriate time with respect to this legislation.
So, Ms. Holloway, we to your point, we did hear the concerns of the council members, and we'll see how this is going to go, and then we'll address those concerns after we vote on this. So, to you questioned that was there another consideration for a separate ordinance, and the answer to your question is yes. We did consider that, and we're going to see how this carries out first, and then if we need to put up another ordinance, I think we're going to consider that as well. But that was part of the conversation that you remember us having at the last meeting. But it was not two separate ordinances.
It was also suggested that you did library separate and apart.
Correct.
I just wanted to make sure that you were
Correct.
clear on it.
Yes, correct.
Devon Crawford, 1417 Orchard Terrace. You You said 4 million, but I only see 4,000. Is that a mistake? Is it
That's
4,000?
4 million.
4 million.
It's 4 million.
So we'll make that correction.
Yes, thank you, appreciate that.
Lawler, 54 Herb Street. I do have a question on taking money from one area to another. Is that proper business practice, that if you apply for a bond or you request a bond in the amount of, I don't know what the original amount was, but $4,400,000, and that was passed, that would be for the Ramsey Avenue issue. Say, we're not going to use it for that, we're going to use it, and everything was signed off, and then at the last minute, I just switch it up and change it to something else. Is that appropriate?
Well, there's times you can appropriate for a bond, and if the project somehow gets railroaded or somehow, gets changed, then, since, the recommendation was made, because we're moving, the state had decided to fund that $4.4 million of the project, which we initially bonded for, but because it's not being currently used, that's why the thought process, since we already paid the down payment last year after that budget, for that initial bond of 5%.
We did not bond for the money yet. We have not paid for the money yet. We have not received any money yet. We passed an ordinance to give authorization to bond for the emergency repair in the amount of $4,400,000. They never went out to get the emergency repair. So what that means is we can go today, tomorrow, whatever day is available, and say, hey, we're going to go out for these bonds because the authorization from the council has already been provided. No money has happened yet. No money.
So I'm going to let point of clarification.
Give her the point by point so that she has it clear. I'm not trying to confuse her, I just wanted to be clear. No money has moved yet.
Okay.
This is authorization to go get a loan. That's what we're saying. We are authorizing the municipality to go get a loan.
Okay.
Specifically for emergency repair of the sinkhole. So what for emergency repair in $4.4 million, we gave them the authorization to go into debt for that money, for that material. They have coupled together two ideas to remove the authorization from that $1 million for the library. Those two things could have been two separate issues. They never had to connect. So if another hole has developed, we have to come back and go through this whole process again to address a new hole. When we not incurred any cost on any money related to this $4.4 million bond authorization for the sinkhole.
Can we confirm that?
Point of clarification, I pulled up the bond from, the ordinance from last year. So, in section D, it says the estimated cost of said improvements and purposes to the township is $4.4 million. The excess amount, therefore, over the estimated maximum amount of bonds or notes to be issued, therefore, is a down payment amount of $209,524, now available for said improvements and purposes from the township's capital improvement fund. So yes, no money has been moved technically, but we did have to put the down payment amount, which was reflected in the budget last year. So if we do move forward to sell a bond, we would have to do the same practice. So that's the money that we're talking about.
So you're
Interject about the money and what's going on here a little bit. I think all the clarity, the point of clarity should come from them at this point.
You're both right. So, the ordinance gives us authorization to bond. At that point, we can either get short-term notes or general obligation bonds, which we have not done in the budget. If we go out and do another ordinance, we'll have to do another down payment this year.
Who would the down payment go to? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Whatever
if
you
no
do,
money's, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Whenever you do an authorization for debt, the township has to put up 5%. That's bond.
Right, you put it on hold, but it's in our accounts, right? In Hillside accounts.
In last year's budget. Yes.
Correct. It's sitting there right now like capital reserve. It's sitting there.
No payment has been made for the sinkhole.
Okay. It's all very confusing. I will tell you that because it's out that you set aside, that 5%, then you can just use the 5% now. Like, it just doesn't make sense. In order to do it, I would say, you know, point by point, it would make sense that way.
Yeah, the only thing, I 1 million compared to what was originally estimated. So, I mean, regardless, like that bond is still going to get amended. So either amend the bond or.
Why is he short 6.2 million?
So the initial fix for the sinkhole was 4.4 million to fix the eminent issue.
Right.
So that's when the state came in and said, okay, we'll do that. So, you know, if you do the math, like, essentially, we're still gonna have to raise more money to fix that complete.
So why not leave the 4.4 million there and just take out a new bond for the library?
That's an option as well, but either way, we're gonna have to change that bond or get a new bond as well. So either way, we're still gonna be in the same position.
It seems like the longer we keep waiting on doing these projects, the more money it's costing the residents. Right? Because the sinkhole is still gonna be there, we have to fix it, that cost is going up. The library we want done, that cost is going up. I don't even wanna think about it's not a pool, sprinkle park, whatever, things for their tax money, they're not. Because now you say it's more. So it's like, how much more is supposed to come from the residents if we don't act quickly enough to complete these projects?
And hopefully the state can up and go through those.
Thank you.
I'm sitting here listening to this, and we've been going through this for weeks now. Okay? But the thing is, nobody up there can tell me that this is a responsible decision. Because you know, we want a library, but what about that sinkhole? That's an emergency business. People have had to move their businesses because of this. Now, if you call yourself responsible, you know, maybe I'm too old or whatever, but that would be a responsible decision to me. It's like, okay, we gotta get this money for the sinkhole, because that's the price.
He said, this $4.4 million that is quote unquote for the sinkhole, but yet we still have the state working on the sinkhole. So are we still working on it, sinkhole? And then I'm looking through, are we talking about invisible money that we really don't have because we still have a bond, but we're paying 5% on the bond? Are we paying 5% on the bond? I'm just trying to, because it's like this person, that person, I'm getting a little confused here. And I've been at these a couple times now.
Yes, ma'am. So, whenever you do an ordinance for any type of project,
okay,
you're required to put up 5%.
Right.
So, that 5% down payment happened last year.
For the sinkhole.
Yes.
So now the state is working on the sinkhole. Can we tell the state to go quicker? Can we tell the state to get more money? Can we argue to the state about the businesses? Okay, so I'm just trying to get an understanding of it. Because we could keep going back and forth, because no one wants a sinkhole. We understand that, but we also, the state. Right, so I'm just trying to, because I'm hearing it and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? So I just wanted clarity in regards to that. Thank you.
My name is Richard Frazier, 1442 Maple Avenue, Hillside. It can be very confusing to listen to how we have to manage money here in Hillside. After 50-some years in Hillside, I understand the need to repair, because I've been in maintenance for 50 years. I understand the sinkhole is very important. There's danger there. I also understand 4 years ago, I was told that it was a proposal for a library. And that library will also be a multi-purpose facility. And in reference to that, it would be representing the veterans. And as a veteran, and I know many of you might have veterans in your family, but you know, after 50-some years in Hillside, I would love to see and be proud to have a building, something I can see for tax. I ain't talking about a 7-Eleven, something like that. I'm talking about something for us. I haven't seen anything in 50-some years, a new construction. It's important that I see my tax money move. Well, And then have the sinkhole, how long is in the sinkhole been there?
The largest one, the one that became the major issue, I think it was multiple smaller holes.
So there was a warning
Yes.
coming, and there was no action done. They waited until it happened. So there's no prepare. Being in the maintenance field, be prepared. You need to do it now. No, the sinkhole. Don't get me wrong. But I also would like to see the library. Plain and simple. I like to see something in Hillside. Addition on the school is fine. Those are nice things. But I like to see something for us. So I can probably say, we got a beautiful library there. We can use it for different things. Work on it. We don't have the answer. We look to you to give us the answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anthony Salters, 528 Chapman Street, Hillside, New Jersey, 07205. Is fixing the sinkhole area, adamant about that, don't want the money touched because the state is there, they're fixing part of the problem. What you're also not telling the people is that even if you bond for $4 million to the library tonight, you still have to come back for more money because that's not enough money to fix the library. You're not telling the people that. You're not being transparent. You're not saying that the council back in 2019 voted to match the $4 million state grant. COVID came in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. There was no construction. Costs went up. The people could better understand, rather than us figuring out what's the priority, the sinkhole or the library. How about they're both priorities, but they need to be separate and handled separately? Just be transparent and honest with the people. Thank you.
Any other questions from the public? Seeing none, get a motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We get a motion to adopt ordinance number 24-08. I'm not gonna read it again. Motion to adopt 24-08.
I'll make a motion.
Get a second.
Second.
Any questions from the?
5% that we allocated towards this fund was, it's still in our own fund, right? We didn't spend it. It's not, that's my understanding?
That is correct, Councilman. It's obligated, but we have to spend 1 cent on the sinkhole.
So it doesn't matter where it moves in theory. It's all still part of the capital funds.
This ordinance, down payment is still going on, so nothing has been spent.
Do we know, maybe Smith knows, do we know, has the state provided any more information on how extensive the damage is beyond the 750 feet? Is there potentially more there, or we're pretty confident this is the max?
They asked, and that they would get back to us, once they make a determination.
Okay, my thought on this, and I'm trying to understand all the pieces and what the public is saying, there's by the state.
Yes.
From what I had when I had spoken to the foreman being on the site, he mentioned it would take at least 6 months of them continuing to work on this project. He couldn't say for certain, but it's likely it might go on for a little longer. There may be a chance, and this is an unknown, we can't decide this or know this, if there's further issues. It's an issue that we don't know. We may never know until it, right? We may never know until it happens. Separately, it sounds like everyone that is excited and wants this library. And that's something that it sounds like we would like to, the motion here is to move the money from the sinkhole to the library because we still have at least 6 months to go until the state decides they're done, at least 6 months. That's how I understand this, Council President, if I'm getting this right. I don't know if making a new bond for that would change things or not, but I do worry that there's a $4 million grant out there that if we don't get moving on the library project quickly, will be lost. So it's not just that we want to keep the $4 million in the sinkhole, which I do understand the need to do. It's, are we at the potential risk of losing this project entirely? And that may be the answer. And to the veterans' point, I think there's some huge benefits to this town of having this library built, not just for the veterans. There's going to be conference rooms. I looked at the plans extensively. There's some beautiful things there, and most importantly, for our own mental health, having some development in town for 50 years.
Hallelujah.
So I weigh this and try to just, I'm saying my piece out loud and I apologize. Just make sure I understand that we're for the library. We just want to separate the two items of maybe getting a different bond and keeping the 4 million there. I thought we had spent the money, so if we didn't, then it sounds like there's no real difference in terms of the town spending. That's all. Thank you.
To answer your question, as somebody who was saying that, that's exactly what I said. We're not against the library. Give the librarians a lot. That's all I'm saying.
Any other questions or comments from the council members? Seeing none, roll call.
I'm sorry, Mr. President, I apologize. Can I ask a quick question?
Councilman Hyde?
Have our engineers been back to the same home and have they provided?
Since the work has started, I don't believe so, but I will have to check my records. Since the state took over and they're making repairs in the emergent area, I'm not 100% sure if the engineers are going over there inspecting the work of the state. So to speak, or to monitor the progress, the progress of the work that developed. I would have to go back and check my records to see if it does.
I appreciate that, but I do think that because it's a Hillside Street and we did award a contract to an engineer, they should be involved at a minimum. They should have some information as to progress, what types of work is on a consistent basis. Because they work for us.
No,
Thank you, Council President.
Any other questions or concerns from the council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Bonanno?
No.
Fierstein?
Yes.
Hyatt?
No.
Joyner?
Yes.
Saxon?
No.
Vice President Rios?
Yes.
Council President Epps?
Yes.
Motion fails.
Council President, at this time, I'd like to make a motion from the floor to introduce the set of bond.
Speak up, Councilman. I can't.
Yeah, no problem. At this time, I'd like to make a motion from the floor to introduce a new bond ordinance that is strictly for the library. And this reads, bond ordinance providing the construction of public library. And Glenn, I think you have the copies, right? For the state of New Jersey appropriating $4.7 million, therefore authorizing issuance of $4.476 in bonds or notes for the township to finance part of the cost thereof. This is a separate bond just for the library.
I have a motion, can I get a second?
Second.
Ready for the question? Any questions from the council members?
Of course.
Councilwoman Hyde?
Thank you, Council President. I certainly appreciate that you guys want to put forth a separate ordinance. It would have been great if you had told us it was for more money in advance. This is how it happens, though.
How much more money are you talking about, Councilman Hyde?
Well, he said he read the title. 4.7.
$4.7 million.
Can you explain why the cost of
Cost, as was mentioned earlier, costs are going up, so.
So I just want to be clear. And I probably will still vote for it. This is precisely the point. You guys pushed for 4 weeks for $4.4 million. And you come in. So it's that kind of thing. It's like, now granted, it's a caucus meeting and we're supposed to discuss these things. But y'all had a full ordinance prepared. And it can't just be a couple people communicating back and forth. We're all supposed to be communicating. That's what working together is.
Any other questions or comments from the council members?
Council President, this way.
Councilman First
Echoing Councilman Hyde a little bit, CFO, if we amended it to be the 4.4 and came back for the extra 300,000, we have to bond for the whole thing at once, but is there any downside to staying with the?
Well,
Is there any downside to keeping the original bond number of 4.4 versus the 4.7?
again, I was just anticipating prices going up. The longer we delay, prices are going up. I could have put 5 million, I don't think it's going to be that. Put an extra 300,000. Because that's the way that I fund ordinances. If we're going to buy cars at 50,000 pop, I put in 55,000. Put in case by the time we get around to ordering the cars, the price goes up. That's just the way that I.
And then just to, thank you, and just to clarify again, when there are bids, so in theory we'll have some control, or no?
We're doing this ordinance so that we can get approval from the state to move forward with the project.
Right.
And then we can start the bidding process.
But the bidders will come here and they'll have to present why they have the numbers they have, and we'll go through that process with them, or is it all does the administration choose the vendors?
We'll put out the bid specs, we get the bids in, and we will.
And we'll pick them.
Yes.
Thank you.
CFO John, so that I'm clear, so the 4.4 million, you're not sure if we're actually going to need this 4.7 that we're actually, that's in this current ordinance, right?
And if I'm wrong, we can cancel it or use it for something else. But again, I don't like to under budget and then have to come back to you guys again.
Okay, so that's very responsible, I appreciate that. Any other questions or concerns?
What is this 224 for then?
A new ordinance requires a new down payment, which we have to add to this year's budget.
Okay, and you're gonna, so the 4.4 million that we shot down tonight, that's like dead?
It's just sitting on the side.
So
It's
this
just
is
an ordinance that is not being funded right now.
Comments from the council members? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call on this, do you have a copy of it as well? Roll call.
Yes, this will be introduction. We're introducing -24-09. Somebody move it, please, and second.
I move.
Second.
Okay. Roll call. Bonanno.
Yes.
President Epps.
Yes.
Passes unanimously.
Hold on one second. Hi, Bobby. So the last part of that, I'll make another motion. There's no resolution over here, but resolution appropriating the down payment of $224,000 to fund this new bond ordinance. Do we have a resolution number for that?
Yes, the resolution number will be R-24-093.
Second.
Any questions?
Yes.
Councilman Hyde?
I see a certification in the back. Is that certified?
Can't hear.
I see a certification at the back end of this resolution, certification for the clerk.
That's just a certification for the clerk.
Do we have this money available?
This resolution puts it on our 2024 budget.
So this allows for us to set it aside in the 2024 budget?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And when do you foresee going out for the bond?
If this gets approved on the second meeting, 20 days after that, we can go out for the notes. We'll go out for notes first.
You said you're going for notes first?
Correct.
And,
So that would be our next meeting. Council Holman will be April the 9th.
Thank you.
So that would be the second public hearing on the second for you. Okay. Roll call, Bonanno.
Yes.
Burstein. Hyatt.
Yes.
Joyner.
Yes.
Saxon.
Yes.
Council Vice President Rios.
Yes.
And Council President Epps.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Council. Resolutions. I'm sorry, can I get a motion to make all these resolution action items, please? Get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
R 24-083, authorized sewer usage charge for 2024. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions?
For the sake of the public, would someone just express the details of this resolution?
Council President, Councilwoman Hyde. Every year, we establishes the rates for the sewer bills, so that's what this resolution is doing.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the council members? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Banano?
Yes.
Fierstein?
Yes.
Hyatt? Rios?
Yes.
Council President Epps?
Yes.
Motion carried.
R 24-084, authorizing for the refund for exempt property 2024 tax block.
Councilman Evans, if I may, can I suspend the order of the resolution and move up, and make a motion to suspend the order and move up the reso to R 24091.
Okay. I don't object to that. We have a motion from Councilwoman Saxton to move up R 24-091.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Hyatt. Any questions from the council? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
R 24-091, appointing Marvin T. Breaker Esquire as municipal judge. I get a motion?
My motion.
Second.
Any questions from the council?
I have one.
Councilwoman Hyatt?
Thank you. Has his term expired this year?
Yes. Yes, his term expired this year, so he had to be reappointed.
Okay, so this is weird. Okay, so where do we stand with the need for the number of judges and things like that?
The assignment judge approved a one-judge bench in 2022.
I'm sorry, can I say that again?
The assignment judge approved a one-judge bench in 2020.
So how did it change? Like, what's that process look like?
It was requested, the assignment judge from Union County received the request. She met with the administration as well as the staff. They reviewed various documents and it was approved for the township of Hillside to have a one-judge bench in 20. Mayor Patrice requested to move from a two-judge bench to a one-judge bench. I don't recall the fight for two. I don't know. When was that? Can you recall?
When it was, who was the last one? Carl.
Can we stick to the red zone?
No, I'm trying to get certain information so I'm clear on how we got here. Carl Marshall, did we fight for the?
Reckless John recall coming from any administration.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman First.
Okay. I have a real problem with this, and I want to make sure I'm clear on it, and if I'm missing information, I'd like to get it clarified before we move on this. If we're saying that there was no backlog, or very little, to be able to move to a one-judge system. If you remember, back when we had two judges, there was a lot of cleanup to do, and the mayor, in her State of the Town address, a lot of the little amount of time that I've had to try to look this up and get information, and I think my impression is that not all the information was made available to the council yet, or we just don't know. From March 2021 until January 2024, we've had one judge. There is an increase in backlogs. Criminal cases are up 93%. Code enforcement, one of the most important that we have, is up 375%. What this means, and I come from formerly being on the zoning board, where code enforcement was the key to making sure people did what they said they were going to do, and it wasn't getting done. We now realize there was a massive backlog of over 300% for code enforcement. And all these things, but if code enforcement's not getting done, what are we going to do? And if our backlog is 375%, That puts us at the 4th worst town in the county. The ones that are behind us are Elizabeth, which is a massive city, Linden, massive, and Plainfield. There is no reason we should be up 375% in backlog. The only area we're improving, and we still have a backlog of 74%, is parking. So the parking enforcement is going a little bit better than it had. But all the other areas are up, if not 100 or almost 100, 300%. This is massive. And this to me is one of the small places we talk about our budget and we talk about finding areas where we can make improvements. This is a clear area where maybe we've tried it as 2 judges, we thought we could get away with 1. And now it's time to bring back 2, because with this kind of number, with these kind of numbers, this is becoming, to me, one of the biggest backlogs in the town. And we know the tickets, they don't care because they're not on second hand. I'm trying to figure out how this works. We need numbers from the county. What are our numbers? How do we look? And I would like to be able to say, at least maybe hearing from our own court administrator, that this is the way things should continue or not. I would like to table this and figure out if we can have at least 2 weeks to make these decisions, to understand what's going on. And my understanding is that the judge that we're reappointing tonight just became the chief in East Orange, or Orange. That is a big responsibility. And now his time, which was formerly here for the most part, is now being split with Orange, or East Orange. Take it to code. This is a systemic issue. And part of worrying about our budget and all the little numbers are, look how much revenue is the town losing by this backlog. How many tickets are dismissed? I don't have those numbers. I would like to get them. Maybe we have a presentation so that we can understand.
If I may say something, Councilman.
I'm almost done. I think we've seen for the past 3 years that having 1 judge is not working. And for us to now nominate and approve that judge a second time for another 3-year period would be detrimental. And it's nothing against the judge. The judge may need help. Let's figure it out. We have 2 weeks now till the next meeting. Let's get the facts. Let's get the information. Let's make sure we know. We need accountability for this. The numbers are up 300%. Something is wrong. We could fix it. Let's not rush tonight. Let's wait 2 weeks. We'll get this thing approved if it's the right thing. But let's get all our ducks in a row. Thank you.
Councilman Saxton.
I just want to say to Councilman Feuerstein, first and foremost, we cannot operate with a judge that has an expired term. So this is something that cannot be tabled. And everything that you just mentioned tonight is something that you should have submitted to the mayor, because she is the one that puts up the appointments, okay? So I understand that I saw your emails and you did submit them to the council. However, your concerns, trust me, they do not fall on deaf ears, but to table such an ordinance, such a resolution right now, is not going to happen.
I don't understand. You're saying that the mayor.
What I'm saying is that you're telling everyone here tonight that we need to get 2 different judges, we need more than 1.
I didn't say different. I think we may have to move to a 2-judge system. I'm nothing against the current judge. There may be an overwhelming.
But you brought up where he currently.
Right, because his time would be even less spent in Hillside. That's exactly the point, right? So I have no problem.
Maybe concerns or requests for 2 judges, and just to piggyback off of Councilwoman Saxon, this resolution has nothing to do with whether or not you want 2, we need 2 versus 1. It has nothing to do with that. This resolution solely has to do with needing and wanting a judge that the current judge has an expired term, and we need a judge that can fully operate going forward. Number 1. Every single court has a backlog issue. There's not one municipal court in New Jersey that does not have a backlog issue. The question is, I'm sorry?
300%.
No, I'm not finished. The question, but the issue is that how are we addressing backlog? And the issue has actually been answered and recognized by our men's Hillside for the effort that we've taken to address the backlog. So again, not only is this ordinance, this resolution actually has that need, is addressing it according to the individuals that are making decisions with respect to how our courts operate. Business Administrator Smith, if I may, Council President?
Yes.
As it was stated, Mayor Patrice did request to go from a 2-judge bench to a 1-judge bench. Backlog which existed prior to being a 1-judge bench, and any other backlog was being addressed by the leadership of the judge and the court staff, and the county recognized that. And as Attorney Montilla said, they're continuing to address backlog. But it was explained, and I had this conversation with you, Councilman, what creates backlog. Any matter that is not disposed of within 60 days becomes backlog. And that plays not a role on the judge or our court administrative staff, but that plays the role of the defendant. If he or she does not show up,
Okay.
and it doesn't get resolved within 60 days, that's backlog. So to honestly sit here and comment on backlog and give percentages that you didn't share with me, and I don't know who you got them from, is very unfair to not only the judge that serves the community, who is a resident of this community, has served as our, also an insult to the ladies that work in that office, because they're working very hard to address these matters. It might seem simple to us because we don't do it, but those that do it know what they're doing, necessary to address it. So it's not a matter of how many judges you have. It's a matter of those that's committing these offenses coming before the judge and taking accountability for that. So that's all I have to say. I'm gonna go back to Councilwoman Saxton and Attorney Montillas, because this isn't about backlog. And I really thought that we had had the conversation, that you have been content with it, because you made it appear as though you understood and you had asked me to give you some additional information, and I had agreed to that. But I really think it's not fair to the staff of the Hillside Municipal Court to sit here and be attacked that way by throwing out numbers that I can't source.
When were those numbers that you're talking about, where we were one person backlog or one number backlog dated?
Yes, October 2022.
Right, so it's 2 years old.
But it's 2 years old. But last year they commended the office as well. I mean, I was just addressing that backlog, but we have a letter as late as October 4th.
If we don't approve this now, does Judge Breaker carry over as a holdover?
No, he doesn't carry over as a holdover, number one. And number two, again, I'm going back to my original point. This resolution has it's two separate issues that we're belaboring for no reason. If you read the resolution, it has only to do with appointing somebody whose term has expired. Whether you need two tonight. So that's a separate issue, a separate request. That's being thrown into a resolution as simple to read as you can possibly put in front of the council. We need a judge. We need a judge. And the court is asking for a resolution.
Councilman Hyde.
Thank you. I think literally that everything that was stated supports the fact that the judge should be reappointed. And I say that because if you're saying we were commended in 2 years, not one, if you're saying that they're talking about details of code enforcement, but yet the state is saying they're making progress, I agree with what Attorney Montilla said, and that the issue isn't about appointing the judge, it's about dealing with whether or not we have two judges. But also, I'm glad that you all shared the details that you shared, because it shows that we have the right individual in the position. And it doesn't matter if he's going to be a judge somewhere else, he's capable of getting the work done and getting it done well. And I also don't want us to be a community that is so concerned about when our people are doing well, if they're doing something somewhere else. We need to be equally concerned when people might not be doing so well and are doing the job somewhere else. I say we vote for it, that's just my opinion.
Yes, I want you to come up here because I do agree with the consent of the rest of the council members. You're doing a fine job. You don't need to defend yourself in the work that you're doing. And I know you want to speak of that, so just please take this conversation with a grain of salt and allow us to vote and move forward. But, thank you for your service, and at this time we're going to do that for you.
Was that actually just take it up to take it out of order?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would just
Sure.
take another resolution.
All right, motion to.
Second, okay.
Wait, let me read it to be official. R20. Motion by Councilman Hyatt and second by Joyner. Any questions? None. Roll call.
Banano?
Yes.
Fierstein?
No.
Hyatt?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Judge Breaker. All right, Dean, help me bring it up. All right, this time I'm going to excuse Councilwoman Banana. She has a family emergency.
Yes, Council President, this was a property that was exempt, that was taxed in error by the tax collector, so we're refunding the property owner.
Any other?
Fierstein?
Yes.
Hyatt?
Yes.
Joyner?
Yes.
Saxon?
Yes.
Vice President Rios?
Yes.
Council President Epps?
Yes.
Motion carried.
24-085, authorizing for the refund for exempt property 2002.
Council President Epps?
Yes.
Motion carried.
24-086, authorizing refund of premiums for tax sale certificates. I get a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions from council? Explanation from you, Glenn, please. Any other questions? Any questions or comments from the council? Seeing none, roll call.
Banano excused. Fierstein?
Yes.
Hyatt?
Yes.
Joyner?
Yes.
Saxon?
Yes.
Vice President Rios?
Yes.
Council President Epps?
Yes.
Motion carried.
24-087, authorizing transfer appropriation reserves in the local budget for fiscal year 2020. Any questions from the council?
I apologize, Mr. President. Could we have an explanation of this?
Yes, Council President, Councilwoman Hyatt. During the first 3 months of the fiscal year, you do transfers from reserves from the prior year. So we transfer from streets and roads to admin and building and grounds.
And what creates the shortage in admin?
Admin, we did the ordinance for the increase in salaries for mayor and council. There was not enough left in reserves for the mayor's increase, the 23.
But didn't we do it? Well, I wasn't here, but didn't we do another resolution?
We did an emergency for 2022.
Any other questions from the council? Seeing none, roll call.
Banano excused. Fierstein?
Yes.
Hyatt?
Yes.
Joyner?
Yes.
Saxon?
Yes.
Vice President Rios?
Yes.
Council President Epps?
Yes.
Motion carried.
24-088, awarding a cooperative contract to Vacom.
Saxon?
Yes.
Vice President Rios?
Yes.
Council President Epps?
Yes.
Motion carried.
24-089, authorizing the acceptance of a grant award from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for the 2024 American Rescue Plan Firefighter Grant.
I move.
And the amount
Year that we've gotten this grant from.
Saxon?
Yes.
Vice President Rios?
Yes.
Council President Epps?
Yes.
Motion carried.
24-090, awarding an emergency budget appropriation for a grant award from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for 2024 American Rescue Plan Firefighter Grant in the amount of $55,000. Can I get a motion? Can I get a second?
Second.
Any questions from the council? Seeing none, roll call.
Banano excused. Fierstein?
Yes.
R24-092, authorizing the establishment of Hillside School Committee. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Get a second?
Second.
Any questions from the council?
Yes, I have a question.
Councilwoman Hyatt?
Is this separate from what we already have?
I'm not sure what we have. Is something in the books we have in reference to the schools?
Yes.
School liaison? That's one appointed individual council member to the, looking over all the schools. This one is geared towards having each council member, actually looking over or, just getting information from the schools and bringing it back to the council. And basically, it's a little different.
liaison, but someone different, and then 4 other members from
Yeah,
the
it
town.
would be just the school that you would be representing, so you feel like it might be the principal, vice principal that would give you the information as to school plays this day, or the graduation is this day, so you will have members from that school under your particular, school that you would be looking over.
But it's not each salesperson, or just one?
Each school, so let's, for instance, let's say Councilwoman Hyde will have HIA, and let's say the principal of HIA and the vice principal, so there'll be different people under her committee within that
So it's
school.
multiple committees?
Multiple committees, yeah. We can, no, our LRO just came up with suggestions. We can, we can either table this, or we can move this and have an open discussion for the, when it goes to the public. Whatever the choice is, we can, there's different choices that we have, that we can move towards this. Resolution will just be every year. An ordinance is, it's something that can continually go on. The thought process was this, was I know we had some discussion about us being in constant communication with our schools, so I didn't want to see it just happen for 1 year, and I didn't want to see it continue. I didn't want to see it for 1 year and then it just stops. But we can do a resolution to just adjust for this year, and then as we move forward, we can just keep renewing that resolution if that's the desire of the council. It's up to the council.
What's the procedure to move it to an ordinance? Or no?
But right now, as it stands, this is an ordinance, and this is something that will be consistently done. This is a resolution. Resolution, I'm sorry.
So I just review it again? Yeah. One table it and do an ordinance?
Councilman Hyde, you have any objections, or you want to continue this and go to public hearing?
Oh, right now.
I'm sorry, not public hearing, public comments.
So what she
About what it is, but.
she said that we can withdraw as a resolution.
We can withdraw it as a resolution if you like. That's your pleasure. Anybody's pleasure.
Whatever you guys decide. I mean, I would like a little bit more, I want to be clear on it.
Table it or withdraw it?
We can table it.
Yeah,
Y'all want to just table it?
We can table it. All right, so we'll get the initial motion.
The motion was done by Joyner, and it was seconded by Council Vice President Rios.
Jordan, you want to withdraw your motion?
I would withdraw my motion.
Second by Rio.
I'll withdraw my second.
All right, we get a motion to table at this time, R24-092.
I make a motion to table resolution R24-092.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, we're gonna open up the floor for public.
One second, Council President. By that, I would like to make a motion from the floor to introduce a resolution to fund the House Music Festival in the amount of $2,500. And I have the resolution here, if you don't mind.
Second.
Council President, if it's okay with you, can I read the resolution?
Yes.
Thank you. The resolution is from the floor to fund the House Music Festival, whereas the Township of Hillside, in Chapter 114 of the Township Code, created a Council on the Arts, which allows for funding via 114-4, and whereas the funding is derived, be it resolved, the Township Council of the Township of Hillside, that $2,500 be provided for the funding of the House Music Festival for the Hillside Township 2024 Festival.
Any questions from the council?
Question. So this be coming out of O&E for the Township Council?
Well, we have a deadline.
Do we have an event?
The CFO should be able to answer that question because I actually sent him the email requesting to see exactly how much we had in our budget.
I know this resolution is coming on